It's October 9th, 2019. I'm chasing my 3.5-year-old daughter around my truck that is parked in the driveway. She's on her Strider bike, and I am in my mobility scooter. And I've been chasing her for about an hour when I start to get cold and tired and just plain bored of playing this game. So I yell to her, "Chloe, it's time to go in." And she rides up to me with her oversized pink helmet on and her winter gloves that she likes to use as racing gloves from time to time. And she looks up at me with this sweet, innocent look. One that speaks volumes of, "I'm about to pull one over on you, Dad." And she says to me, "Oh, Dad, come on. Just 5 more minutes." Now, when my daughter asks for just 5 more minutes, what she really means is that in 5 minutes, I'm going to ask you for another 5 minutes. And then I'm going to ask you for another 5 minutes after that. And I'm going to continue asking you for 5 more minutes until I'm done playing. And I blame my wife for this. Ever since my daughter has been born, which is not that long, my wife has given in to her requests 90% of the time, with me being the other 10%. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. My wife is a fantastic wife. I mean, she's a great mom. She works full time, and when she comes home, she'll play with our daughter until it's time to go to bed. I don't have a job. In fact, my job is to play with my daughter. And after about an hour, I am bored. I'm done. I need a break. So my wife has set the bar really high for playing standards, and I'm often playing limbo underneath this bar. And on this day, it's no different. I'm tired. I just want to go in the house. And so I say, nope, we're going in. And the look on her face hits me in a place that I hadn't been to in a really long time. I was around her age when I had wanted my dad to play with my Matchbox cars with me. He grabbed this huge blanket and he laid down on the couch and he covered himself up. And all the wrinkles and folds that surrounded him became the roads in which I drove my cars in. My dad was my mountain while he napped. Then when I was 7 and I wanted him to play basketball with me, I knew it was much easier to get him to play if he were already outside. And so 15 minutes before he came home from work, I went outside and I practiced shooting. He walked down the alleyway, and before he could make a right into our yard, I threw him the ball, and he started shooting 3-pointers while I rebounded the ball. Now, it didn't last very long until I heard that same line, "It's time to go inside." Now, my dad worked tirelessly to provide for my mom and my 3 sisters and I, and when he wasn't working, he was often exhausted from working. But my dad was really great, though. He always provided everything that we needed. I mean, food, clothes, toys, we had it all. But what I really wanted was more time with my dad than what he could give me. And my daughter, when she was just an infant, when she would cry, I couldn't pick her up and comfort her. And then when she was a toddler, or when she started crawling, and she would crawl over to me and she would stand herself up using my legs and lift her arms up to me. But I couldn't lift her up. And then one day when she was around 3, she said to me, "Dad, you don't love me." But she said it in a way where she couldn't really make eye contact with me, like she was ashamed or she was embarrassed and she knew she shouldn't be saying that. But it was the truth for her, and so she had to tell me. And so when I told her that I loved her, she just put her head down and just shook it and said, no, you don't. And I couldn't help but feel that my disease had prevented me from being that physically nurturing dad that that she wanted me to be, and one that I needed to be, but I just couldn't. And I thought that when she grew up, she would look back and she would just assume that I wasn't there for her. And so now I'm sitting in the driveway, looking down at this crushed look on her face. And it suddenly becomes a point in time for me to not only give my daughter what my dad couldn't always give me, which was time, but more importantly, to show her that I will always be there for her when she needs me. So I say, Chloe, okay, 5 more minutes. Thank you.